Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, after the release of the emails by Roger Livermore, I was expecting a lot more from the mainstream media, but not a tweet, not a dicky bird, nothing. But we have had some interesting tweets on Twitter. No, I refuse to call it X. Call it X-Twitter, if you like. But that's as far as I'm going. And it is all kicking off. Roddy Dunlop KC, although he's still got a Twitter handle of Roddy Dunlop QC, because I don't believe you can change the handles, has come and made, all I can say is a very curious tweet. He contradicts himself, and then he doesn't like it when people disagree with him. He seems to think that because of who he is, his word is law. No pun intended. But of course, we all know that he has a vested interest because it's his boss ultimately that he's going to try and defend. But we will have a look at this because it makes for interesting reading, shall we say, in terms of what he's saying. And then we'll have a look at some of the responses here. But it is a very, very strange stance which he's taking because he's actually contradicting himself within the same tweet. Let's take a look. Right, so we're going to take a look at this this post he made. Now, it's in two parts, but I'll read it through as one. But we will look at what he's saying. He's saying this. And it beggars belief because he's actually admitting and then trying to defend, but by his defence saying, no, it isn't what he's admitting. And it doesn't make logical sense. And you'd think a man like Roddy Dunlop would be able to come up with a better argument, but he doesn't. Roddy Dunlop says this. He says, there are justifiable questions regarding splitting the Lord Advocate's role. Hence, Joanna Cherry's 10-minute bill. So he's saying there that it could be justified to split the role. So if he's admitting then that the role needs to be split, he's admitting that there must be a conflict of interest. Does that make sense? Otherwise, why split it? It says, but it is absolutely not lying to Parliament or to anyone to describe the cops as independent. But surely it is. If the head of that is someone who takes the shilling from the government and therefore is behoven to the government, then she sits there as the head of the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service on one hand and takes the shilling from the government on the other hand. How is she independent? One hand washes the other, surely. And all they've got to do is give her a little pay rise and she can come to the decision they require. It's plainly and patently not independent if she is being paid by the government. And worse, sitting as a minister within the same government. Now, she can be head of one or she can be a minister. It's up to her. But to be both means she can be she can be independent in neither role. Because as a minister, she'll have to be aware of what the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service is doing. But as sitting as the head of the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service, she has to be aware of what the ministries, the government wants. It's quite clearly a conflict of interest. It's quite clearly not independent. There's also the fact that because it's run, the Crown Office is now run as a ministry role controlled by a Minister of State, then no one all the way down the chain can be independent. Everyone relies on what they're told to do. I was only obeying orders is not a great defence. It didn't work at Nuremberg and it won't work anywhere else. And so that's a first fail. Now, Roddy Dunlop's supposed to be a really good KC, but even he's got to admit, if she's taking the shilling, she cannot be independent. Anyway, he said, suggestions to the contrary are nonsensical. Why? Just because Roddy Dunlop says it's nonsensical doesn't make it so. He is not the word of God. He is a man with a vested interest in protecting what is effectively his boss, and a man who would like one day to step up and be promoted and perhaps even reach the dizzying heights of the role in which he is currently defending. So his defence itself is not independent because he needs to please the government that would appoint him. So again, even he's not being independent. Very disingenuous. He said, similarly, the suggestion that the Lord Advocate might be prosecuted for breaching Section 48(5) of the Scotland Act 1998 is ludicrous. Why? Again, just because Roddy Dunlop says it's ludicrous doesn't make it so. What's his legal argument for saying that she can't be prosecuted? She did undoubtedly lie to Parliament. She said that it was independent, and we've now seen it cannot possibly be independent, and therefore she's committed a perjury or a lie, and for that she should be prosecuted, or at least face some kind of censure. He says it can't possibly have been advanced by anyone with any knowledge of the law. Oh, that's very disingenuous, Roddy Dunlop. You know that most court cases are decided by juries who have zero understanding of the law, but they know what's what and they know what's right, and you wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for juries. That's number one. And number two, I think the Crown prosecutor probably does have some little limited knowledge of law, and it was, after all, Roger Livermore who brought this forward. So again, very disingenuous argument. He's trying to blind you with science. He's trying to say, oh, no. Look at me. Look how clever I am. Look at my qualifications. Look at the letters after my name. You can have 3 alphabets after your name. It doesn't make you right if you're wrong. And the very fact that you admit right at the beginning that it needs to be split goes to show you're on very, very shaky ground. And that is the problem. You are on incredibly shaky ground. And it is, after all, just your opinion, not in any way a legal argument. Now, there is a couple of things down here. If you're all telling the truth, explain why Craig Murray got prosecuted for jigsaw identification and Danny Garavelli did not. See, you're spouting a fiction of the system in which you work and that you actually know in your heart to be a lie. And is there... then there's some people going on. There was another one further down which I did see. Here we go. This guy here. He said, I could also offer an opinion, not a legal or factual one, but one to say you're defending it because you have ambition of going further in your career, like Mr. James Wolfe, who went from Dean to LA, and I don't want any dilution of powers that you may get in any future job offers. Yeah, he doesn't want his future job to be diluted either. Isn't it funny, by the way? It went from Wolf to Bane. And we all know that Wolfbane is quite a poisonous, toxic substance. I'll round off there and come up. Now, there is quite a lot on there. I mean, the whole of the Roddy thing is there. If you want to have a look on Twitter, it's at RoddyQC. So you can go in and have a look. And indeed, if you're somewhere in there, deep in the middle of it, Roger Livermore made a few tweets. And he sort of commented, and I think he's stirring the pot a little bit, which is nice. It needs to be stirred. There is a new hashtag. There is a new hashtag, which I'm eminently pleased about, which is hashtag Scotland's Watergate. Use that. Use hashtag Scotland's Watergate because it's going big, and that was the name of, or that was the flash title on the video yesterday. So it seems to be taking off. It's very good. Anyway, thank you very much. That's probably my last one of the day. So do hit the like button. Definitely subscribe if you haven't. We are booming on the subs, and that is great because it means that we can get much further out and more people can know what's going on. So absolutely do that. Anyway, There might be a few flash videos, but that's it for the big ones. And I will be back and speak with you and start again fresh as a daisy tomorrow morning. Till then, goodbye.